Annual sports games often struggle with the same question as the annual WrestleMania event. How does the newest one improve upon the last? Yearly sports games has a history of doing very little to improve the experience with each entry. And while WWE 2K series typically offers a bit more than your standard sports title, this year's installment really feels more like just another expansion. At the time when WrestleMania 42 is struggling to generate expected interest, WWE 2K26 arrives 1 year removed from a series entry that was once well received, but it didn't have that one marquee thing that prompted up. Now 2K26 promises a massive amounts of upgrades and updates that make things promising again, but where is it enough to wow the individual buyers again still needs to be the verdict. The WWE 2K formula has been pretty straightforward in recent years. You get your showcase mode, reliving past matches with numerous objectives, your myrise modes, and improvements to gameplay here and there. Going from 2K25 to 2K26, there are a few noticeable enhancements in the gameplay, but none are things that couldn't have been implemented through patches last year. You now have the ability to change how you begin a match, choosing if you want to approach your opponent for a handshake, run at them, engage in chain wrestling, or just trade blows. It makes matches feel a bit more like real life counterparts. There are also some upgrades to physics and stamina. Now low stamina prevents you being able to perform reversals, meaning you're at risk of being hit with finishers and there's nothing you can do about it. There's also new weapons and physics tweaks under the hood. The big one this year, after years of requests, is thumbtacks. At long last, you can now pull off that legendary pedigree into the thumbtacks to Royal Rumble 20,000. The new physics also let you double stack tables, position ladders as bridges to cause more damage, new weapon based systems, and the ability to utilize the steel steps in new ways, such as power bombing an opponent into them. It's easy to say from gameplay perspective, it's the best it's ever been, but is miles ahead of last year? Not really. The simulation aspect still makes it feel a bit clunky and relying on reversals, a bit too slow and not enough flow. But if you really like the WWE 2K style, then you'll be over the moon salt here. The roster is also impressive with fan favorites like New Jack returning. It has pretty much everyone you can think of, including past myrise characters. But as impressive as the roster is, do keep in mind that plenty of the slots are just different versions of the same wrestlers. It includes the indie Ring of Honor version of Punk, where he comes out with it sounds like a remix of the Terminator theme. The only really missing wrestlers is essentially anyone that's under contract with other companies, such as Edge, Christians, for obvious reasons. With that being said, just like previous years, there are many talented people in the community who can easily make them using creative wrestler tools. Personally, and while I fully can't wait for more TNA talent to arrive in the future DLC, such as the Hardy Boys, that is its own can of worms that I'll get into in a bit. Generally speaking, the biggest challenge of the WWE 2K series faces in the presentation department is getting the proper attire and gimmick changes for individuals in the game. That's a never-ending moving target that's quite literally impossible to hit though. WWE 2K26 otherwise is the latest fantastic looking entry in the series. It's got the bells and whistles in terms of lighting and shadow work, never mind a strong sense of depth and scales to various audience and stadiums. The broadcast angles, even on the entrances, take straight from the real product in a great way. Superstars overall look really great, which is really impressive considering WWE keeps acquiring promotions and individuals in real life, and the digital reputation of it has ballooned to up to north of 400 characters. Where 2K26 innovate in terms of presentation in the audio department, Booker T and Wade Barrett joins the commentary team to great effect, varying up lines in much needed way. It shouldn't go overlooked how much voice acting coming to the island helps the side of the game too. Like a year ago, by far the most impressive and most immersive aspect of the presentation is the live crowds, which is a variety, which vary in size overall the interactiveness of the wrestler during a match, NXT being the most. Is such a critical aspect of pro wrestling that has been yet to be fully unlocked in the video game. That's a real chef kiss to the moment of the series. The main gameplay additions this year come in the forms of new match types. I Quit, Inferno matches return, along with 3 Stages of Hell and Dumpster matches. The 3 Stages of Hell unfortunately isn't as seamless as you would think, despite just it being a 2 out of 3 falls match with a special type for each fall. I also noticed that despite 2 wrestlers bleeding after the first fall, their heads magically healed between falls. I hope that's patched in later on updates. The Inferno match is by far the standout here. While I've never been the biggest fan of Inferno matches, there's only been like 4 in the histories anyway. It's done quite well this year, letting you leave the ring and get weapons if you want. The result is a fun spectacle of a burning ring, bloody bodies littered with thumbtacks, broken glasses, and weapons. It's pretty damn fun. A dumpster match is exactly as it sounds, just throwing your opponent into a dumpster to get the win. I won't say this match tap itself belongs in the dumpster, but its proper place is probably in the recycle bin. It's essentially the same as the caster match or the ambulance match. It's just a different skin. I Quit matches boast your standard hardcore rules, but with their own mini game where you need to time button press to avoid quitting. Meanwhile, if you're on offense, you can lay down blockers to make it more difficult for your opponent. Pumping out random match types for 2K27. I would prefer them to just update and keep going with the current match types that they had to perfect them to make them each feel like their standalone game instead of just reskins of other matches that we already have. Heaven forbid they add on a pole match. I'd rather much see time goes towards upgrading existing match types instead. This year's showcase centers around CM Punk. The Second City Saint made his return to WWE in 2023 and is once again one of the biggest stars in the company, leading to a whole mode featuring his biggest bouts. If you played a showcase mode before, you know exactly what they're getting into. Relive past matches from a wrestler's career with commentary from them sprinkled in. Showcase has become one of the most repetitive modes in WWE 2K series, and this year is no exception, unfortunately. Unlike last year's entry, which highlighted the Bloodlines dynasty and included multiple superstars, this year has the least bit variety given the fact it's mostly all just CM Punk. You do get the opportunity to play through special what-if scenarios if CM Punk never left the company, including one where he takes the place of Bryan Danielson at WrestleMania 30 or take on Kurt Angle in his final match. The good thing in some of these what-ifs is that you can control CM Punk's opponent. So if you wanted to hit 3 Stone Cold Stunners in a dream match, you can definitely do that. You actually have to because it's part of the checklist. If you're bored with last year's showcase, this one would definitely make you go to sleep. Luckily, you can go through optional Godness match to unlock everything the showcase has to offer outright out of the gate if you're good enough. Then there's myrise, the typical WWE story mode where you take the place of a male or female created character through a journey. Those modes are a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. I've always enjoyed making my wrestlers' moveset. They're cheesy, a bit dumb, but I love them all the same. myrise offers up new division storylines that are pretty fun. Most notable welcome is the ability to keep on playing after the main story concludes. Universe mode, which is my ultimate favorite game mode, has gotten love with even more customization option, but it may be time for 2K to really give this a major refresh down the line, especially given that so many people buy WWE games just for Universe mode, myself included. Universe mode finally gets the WWE Trap, which is more than the real WWE shows can say right now. There's little stuff to love that won't get headlines too, such as expanded promo options. Alongside that, the overarching creation suite booms to 200 slots. And again, little things that won't command the conversation, like the ability to color blend hair, are a small nod to the in-depth creation community. As always in sports games, there are microtransaction conversations to be had. That's especially the case with 2K26, which shakes up the long-standing post-launch support plan for the first time ever. The absolute worst part of WWE 2K26, however, is the biggest reason I can't recommend this game to anyone who bought last year's. It's the Ringside Pass. Battle Passes are nothing new in the gaming world of 2026, but this is just the wrong way to go about implementing one. This year though, it's incredibly greedy, even for WWE standards. Now you have to play through matches to unlock the new Battle Pass tiers and eventually get access to everything. On top of buying the full price base game, each of the 6 seasons costs $9.99. I played through an entire myrise campaign and only was at level 8 of 40. Imagine how in a few months from now, people are going to react to needing to play so much to unlock the items that they already paid for. The only alternative is to buy the Skier Tip, which is just another system designed to make you spend more money. It's just unacceptable in 2026, and the developers need to either completely cut this or just make some significant changes. However, progression feels fair upon initial launch, but it'll be interesting to see how it holds. Like the NBA side of 2K, it's also littered with microtransactions too. Otherwise, as expected, the game runs well and comes packed with customizationable options. There's a reason why WWE price tick is astronomically high, but judging by the recent WrestleMania sales figures, people are finally starting to see that enough is enough. WWE 2K26 is like a star that's ready for a push. It's put in all the work and it has a great foundation. The roster is pretty stellar, the game modes are all there, and it has many systems in place. Now it's just about bringing them all together and taking it to the next step. No more showcase, no more new match types. Focus on what you have already, because you have something great, but just enhance it significantly, make it special, improve the gameplay, improve the universe mode especially, upgrade everything in the package rather than just adding more. Currently, WWE 2K26 is bogged down by tiresome features and predatory Ringside Pass that has no place in games at all, and at least in its initial form. As such, I'd like to wait for a sale for this one. If you haven't played WWE 2K game in a while, you might just have a good time, but just know that this one has a few botches in it. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like or subscribe button. I love when YouTube gives me money for just talking. And if you want to catch me live, I am live on Twitch pretty often and on TikTok as well. Link is in the description for both of those links. If you want to catch me live, come join the community and we'll have a good time. Until next time, guys, watch out for any super kicks. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay alpha.